What is up, guys? Zane from the Zane Madden YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys a very simple freestyle concept that you can use in any offensive playbook in Madden 24 to move the ball effectively against both man and zone coverage. This tip is how to hot route wheels on the fly. And to be honest, it allows you to create slant and goes as well. Really, anytime you have an offensive formation where you can command the user to have to guard something else on the field, you'll be able to utilize this tactic for the purpose of secondary chunk yardage routes. This can be something that you could throw quick as a check down in the flat if you're blitzed, or if you have time, you can hang on to the ball, let everyone else run off the zone coverage, and find this route in the intermediate to deep area of the field for pretty big gains. So let's go ahead and get into it. This is a tactic that is utilized when you flip an offensive formation or audible from one offensive formation into another. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come out in my favorite formation in the game, which is the gun tight open in the Kansas City Chiefs offense. As you guys saw in the intro, we kind of worked in some examples of an outside releasing route as well as an inside releasing route with this little trick. The timing at which you hot route as we do this is going to dictate not only the direction the route runs, but also the shape of the route. You'll have some that are going to be a quick step and then up the field. Some are going to have a couple steps and then slowly turn up the field or up the seam. So let's go ahead and show you guys how this is done. Basically, when you flip a play, you want to choose a player that is crossing the field and hot route them to a streak. Now, you see right here that I have put Shannon Sharp on his streak, but it has an exaggerated outside release. This is going to be something that you could use as a secondary sideline route behind a streak that is going to run off the outside shell. So in this case, we might have kind of a cover 3 looking defense. We'll attack with 2 vertical pulls down the seam. So you'll see right here when we snap this ball, X runs off the coverage, Gronk cuts in behind, and we can throw this in the back pocket. Now, short and wide side rules apply. Sometimes you're going to have a better job pulling the short side deep zone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this exact same concept to the short side, this time with Brian Finneran, who is crossing the field. So I'm going to hot route him to a streak, and you're going to see that he's going to run outside before he releases up the field. With this particular rep, you're going to see the B receiver pulls that outside zone, and the sideline is wide open for us to throw this in. So this is a little bit better to the short side of the field in this particular combo than it is the wide side. The trick to this is all about the timing. So when you hot route a player who is crossing the field on your flip or your audible, if you hot route them when they are on the left side of the line, the route will release to the left side before they cut up the field. If you hot route them while they are behind the right side of the line, they will release to the right side before they cut up the field. This allows you to not only determine the direction, but also the timing of which you make this hot route will determine how many steps. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to flip this formation. Now I'm going to hot route Gronk when he hits the right tackle. So he's going to release to the right side, but because I did it when he was behind the tackle, he's going to have a shorter in-breaking component to this route. In this particular concept, this is great because let's say for whatever reason, we can command that our opponent is guarding something else. Maybe they're guarding a running back wheel or something out of the backfield. And we know that that is an area of the field in the middle that they should be guarding. So we'll just kind of pretend that Cam Chancellor is the user. This is great because if we can pull that user out of the middle of the field, this route is going to cut up into that zone where he ought to be for the purpose of throwing this ball. Now, again, it depends on whether or not the user vacates that area of the field. That's going to determine how open that is, but just keep that in the back of your mind as you play through this. Now, as I mentioned, it all comes down to when you hot route. So in this example, I'm going to flip this play and I'm going to hot route Gronkowski while he's on the left side of the line. And you're going to see that he's going to run to the left on his tail. If I were to flip the play again and hot route Gronk again when he's on the left side of the line, he's going to release to the left. So it doesn't matter whether the receiver is running from right to left or left to right. The timing at which you make this hot route is going to determine the shape of the route. So let's go ahead and show you guys another example. What I'm going to do right here is I'm going to wait for Finneran to get to the other side of the line, but I'm going to do this really late. In fact, I'm going to do this as he hits outside the tackle. And you see that he gets a outside release, but it's very, very short. So again, the closer to the center you hot route the streak, the bigger the tail will be on the route, whether it's releasing outside or inside on a given play. So side of the line determines direction of the tail. Timing of the hot route determines size of the tail. In this particular position, if I wanted to maybe get Finneran on the right side on a little baby one step and then go up the field, I would flip it. I would go ahead and put him on a streak as he hits outside the right tackle. You see these got a little bit of a baby streak. This is going to be nice because this will get him up the field more quickly as opposed to a route where he's going to jog a couple steps. Maybe you're being zone blitzed. Maybe you are just having an organic 3 or 4 man pass rush get to you before that route is getting down the sideline. The different shapes of these routes are going to dictate how quickly they're going to make themselves available to the quarterback. So you see that here that he makes himself available to the quarterback sooner, but because he cut up the field very, very quickly, there was a huge gap behind our pull route. Whereas in this example, if I were to hot route him, say now, you're going to see a much longer tail, which means it'll take a little bit longer for him to get out of the backfield, but there's going to be a wider window on the sideline when he turns up in behind our streak route, which allows us to have more yardage. So again, the pass rush getting home or not getting home is going to determine the shape of the route that you guys use. So that is just the beginning of this tip. What makes this so valuable is when you start to get into other formations where you have quite useful routes or stock routes that command respect of your opponent. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to show you guys something that I do in my Kansas City Chiefs offense. And if you guys want my Kansas City Chiefs offense, you guys could go check it out over on gridirongameplans.gg. because this is a major staple of the way that I hot route and freestyle. You guys have probably noticed if you've watched me play online, which I do stream on Twitch during the weekdays, that I throw a lot of vertical routes down the field out of spread sets. This trick is a large reason why this is possible. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to show you something. I'm going to audible from the tight open into one of my favorite formations, which is the gun tight flex. And the reason that I want to do this is that I'm going to have Megatron going from the right side of the field to the left. So I'm going to hot route into verticals and I'm going to put Megatron on a slant and go. Then from there, I'm going to use Shannon Sharp on a post route. And the reason that I want to use Shannon Sharp on a post route is that we know that this particular post from the tight end position, which we're mimicking out of the Trey Y flex, is one of the most money routes in the game for the purpose of beating zone, because we can use any of the 3 receivers on the trip side to run off the vertical shell and open up that sideline. As a result, this is a throw that a lot of players have to respect with their user. So we're going to mimic this by putting Chancellor and man coverage on Gronk here, or on Sharp here, and I'm going to do the same thing. So as you might imagine, I'm just going to audible into a Trey style formation here. We'll audible back into verticals, and I'm going to put this slant and go over the middle of the field, because we know that with this particular play that the user has to respect the post to Sharp. As a result, this is going to allow us to maybe pull the outside third on the right side of the field with a wheel to the running back. That's a very good route in general. We snap this ball, the user follows, and now we have the entire middle of the field for us to throw if that user doesn't stay in the middle of the field. If they do stay in the middle of the field, the post is going to be open. So this is going to be something that you can kind of do out of really any formation. If I wanted to freestyle this from tight open into maybe say bunch Y flex, one of the things that you'll immediately notice is that I could go ahead and use the same trick on Finneran. I just created basically a different version of verticals. Instead of using B, I could use right bumper on this, which allows me to now kind of do some similar things. I could go ahead and run a slant post with B. A lot of players are going to see this snap the ball and think it's not verticals, but you're going to see here that Finneran is going to cut up that sideline. And now I'm in a spot where I could go ahead and throw my rocket catches or my jet packs in on the sideline, which if you guys don't know how to make that free form, I do have a free form seminar over on Gridiron Game Plans within my Kansas City Chiefs offense. You guys can apply that into any playbook that you want. But as you see, this is something that is very, very useful for the purpose of destroying zone. But here's the other thing. This is also very, very good against man. So let's go ahead and hop into cover one press. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you that if we go ahead and do this flip trick, it actually makes players unbumpable. So you're going to see here that Finneran is going to basically be able to kind of get kind of like a little, I would say at most a punch animation, and then get in behind his guy. You see right there, there's the punch. I can throw my rocket catches or my jetpacks off of this and get a much better release, especially if they're playing that press animation. You guys struggle with getting guys into phase in these routes. These are a great way to kind of free them up. And again, you'll want to experiment with the timing but you'll definitely want to lab this up against man-to-man. This is a great way to attack zone coverage. I will stress to you guys that if you guys do struggle with man-to-man, one of the best parts about Gridiron that no other site is actually talking about is the fact that we do know how to jetpack. And if you guys struggle with the man blitz meta, this is going to be a quick way to get them back into zone. You're going to be able to throw these routes very, very efficiently and force them into the zone, which this particular YouTube trick is going to allow you to really eviscerate with the timing-based releases of inside or outside release streaks. So I hope that this all kind of meshes together and allows you to kind of expand your viewpoint of how offensive football can work in Madden 24. I'm really having a great time trying to do things a little bit differently than everyone else this year, while still implementing the areas of the meta that aren't necessitated by the way the game plays. We can still go out there and throw corners and posts and seams and Texas routes and wheels and all those things, but there's a little bit more fun to be had on the offensive side of the ball, and I hope that you guys will head over to Gridiron and check that out. Otherwise, make sure you guys are subscribed here on the channel, hit that notification bell, drop a comment below to help push this video out in the algorithm, and I'll see you guys a little bit later with our YouTube short, or tomorrow with our next YouTube upload. Until then, this is Zan. Get in the lab and good luck.